Let's move on to this one. We're going to open up a can of worms here. It's about time. It's about halfway through the show. Let's open up this one. Benjamin asks, is there a difference in the ordination of a fraternity of St. Peter priests, an Institute of Christ the King priest, a Society of St. Pius X priest, compared to a Novus Ordo priest?
Well, in the case of all three of those groups that you mentioned, the Fraternity of St. Peter, that's my congregation, the Institute of Christ, the High Priest, and the Society of Pius X, all three of those groups, as far as I know, would use the traditional ceremony of ordination of a priest. I have known of a very small handful of priests working in the Novus Ordo that were ordained in the traditional rite, but it's not too common. So the most of the priests in the Novus Ordo and dioceses would be ordained using the revised rite, as all the books after Vatican II were revised, the Mass being one of them, the ordination of priests being another one of them. The outcome of performing a sacrament in any rite is the same. So a priest that is ordained in the old missal or the new missal, they become a priest. It's just like the old rite of baptism versus the new rite of baptism. People sometimes come and say, well, I was baptized in the new rite. Could I be rebaptized in the old rite? Well, no, because when you were baptized, you were given that indelible mark, and baptism cannot be repeated. Holy orders cannot be repeated. So when a priest is ordained, he is a priest. The ceremonies are different. And one priest I knew, I think this is a good way to say it, the more that we ask of God, the more he gives us. So if there are things that have been left out, if it doesn't affect the validity, does that mean that it doesn't matter? Well, no. I would say all those things matter, and all those other ceremonies and those other prayers and so on that are in the rites that maybe have been taken out and so on, although not affecting the validity, I think certainly makes a big difference, but it doesn't affect the outcome. There's another way of looking at this. For instance, in the old rite, for a priest being ordained in the old rite, like myself, we go through the minor orders. We're ordained, first we're tonsured, then we're ordained to porter, lector, then acolyte and exorcist, subdeacon, deacon, and deacon. Subdeacon, deacon, and priest. A priest that did not go through those ordinations, nonetheless, when you receive the greater, you receive the lesser. So I would maintain that every priest, even ordained in the new rite, is an ordained lector, acolyte, exorcist, porter, even though they don't go through those steps anymore. So the outcome is the same when we're talking about the effect on the soul and so on, even though the ceremony was different. If we were to hold that the new rite of ordination is invalid, then we really have a problem, because we're really saying then that Christ really didn't keep his promise. Because if the majority of the priests who exist today, the majority of whom were ordained in the new rite, are not truly priests, then it's hard to see how you couldn't say that the church has failed. So this is really an important question, and that's why so many people are tempted by Sedevacantism to say that the church it's really very, very small, or it's even dead for practical purposes. This is a really heretical position. So we have to maintain that the new rites are valid. We can argue about if they should have been changed and so on and so forth, but you're going to have a priest regardless of with either ordination.
Yeah, I was a Sedevacantist once during the interregnum before we had Pope Leo XIV.
You better explain that for the people that don't understand what that means.
Yeah, well, we say that the chair is empty when between popes, right? So if in the case of Pope Francis, when he died, the chair was empty technically until it was filled by Pope Leo XIV. So just
which is different,
kind of a lame dad joke there.
Yes, but far different from saying that there's been no valid pope for the last 70 to 80 years now. That amount of time
that's true.
Would really put into question Christ's promise that the gates of hell would not prevail against the church.
Yeah, definitely. And also, it's interesting to see how different people who adhere to the Sedevacantist position will say, like, well, it definitely started after this pope. And then some of them will say, well, it definitely started after this pope. So there's not really a unified vision of Sedevacantists. It's pretty interesting. Do you want to support Ask a Priest Live? Click here to donate to this channel and support our mission, or donate safe and secure at thestationofthecross.com.